Hi guys, so I think the fact you're watching my channel means you're into miniatures, well, like me, and you possibly have a lot of your miniatures, well, like these, on sprues. So obviously these haven't been cut away as of yet, but when we do make these miniatures up, we are left with loads of grey plastic left over. And more often than not, this grey plastic, well, you probably put it back in the box, and then that box gets put in a drawer or a cupboard. Well, I like to make things with mine. And if you followed my channel for a while, you know I've made all kinds of things from the lovely sprues. But I think the thing that most tickles me is this. And it's a sprue burger. So kind of nothing really to do with miniatures. But I have made orc stompers and a whole variety of terrain bits and pieces. Yeah, go and click on well, I'll leave a link at the end, guys, where you can sort of see everything I've made with sprues. And yeah, I've made all sorts. But this sprue burger is probably the thing that I loved the most. Just because, well, it's so random, and yeah, it's nothing to do with Warhammer, Necromunda, kill teams. It's literally a big, huge, humongous burger. Although this one's empty, made up of a frame. Again, if you're new to my sprue videos, well, I'm going to show you in this video exactly my process for making things. But yeah, say link down below to go and see, well, a whole variety of things you can do with sprues. From quick and easy things to, well, I did make a towel manta out of sprues. So yeah, go check that out. So the first thing I need to do is I've got a lot of these sprue bits or leftover bits with, well, as you can see, bits on them. Leftover heads, little weapons, and yeah, all kinds of odds and ends. So obviously I want to keep these. So these are going to go into a bits box. And this one is going to be a bits box of, well, Space Marine kind of stuff, I guess. But I do also have, well, a lot of sprues that are already sort of like fully emptied where, well, I've made up whatever was on there. So the first one I like to do is cut around the edge. Yeah, because the thing I'm going to be using mostly here are the edge bits, just because they're nice, they're long, and they're straight. So yeah, that sprue burger I made, I don't know, I need to check, but I'm thinking about it 2 years ago. And when I made it, I did sort of say at the time, I would possibly make some fries to go with it. Well, here we are, about 2 years later, and yeah, I'm going to make the fries to go with the burger. So as I say, this is the main bit we kind of want initially, just because these are nice, long, straight bits. So it is a case of cutting off the corners. Obviously, everything we do cut off, we do keep, as that gets turned into sprue goo. Again, if you're new here, you may, well, not have heard that term before, and I must admit, I've not said that term for quite some time. I did go through a stage of making lots and lots of things with sprues, and then I kind of stopped. I think it's probably when the 3D printers came in, just because 3D printers are so much, well, quicker, easier, and you can make exactly what you want. So here's another term I've not used for ages, but there was a stage where I used it so much. Nibbly knobbly bits. And these are the bits I refer to as, well, just the bits that are on the sprues that we need to cut off. So yeah, I'm cutting off some nibbly knobbly bits. Again, these all get kept, even though these are sort of minuscule. But these round bits, I did do a video where I turned all these little round bits that I'm cutting off at the top, and I make them into a pile of gold. So yeah, guys, when I say I made quite a lot of things with sprues, yeah, it's probably an understatement. I've made about 50 odd things with sprues. And obviously say, this is still my favourite thing, sprue burger. It's nuts. So like most of the things I make with sprues, I like to make a framework for it. So that's why I've printed out the sort of size that I want the fries to be. As you can see, everything is definitely supersized here. And then yeah, for the fries, I'm kind of thinking I'm going to put sort of 4 of these sprues together. As that should give me a rough sort of size to go with. So I've separated all my sprues into roughly sort of like equal lengths. As I say, I want to sort of glue these together. And then these obviously can be made into, well, kind of fries, I guess. And for this, obviously the best thing I've got is the old cement glue. Again, it's got a little brush on there, but the brush is a bit small. So I'm just using an old paintbrush and yeah, brushing on cement glue just to try and make this whole process easier. It's a little bit fiddly, but the one thing I do like about using cement glue is when you get it on your hands, it's just a little bit sticky, rather than obviously sticking your fingers together, which would happen if you used, well, normal glue. So yeah, this is a bit of a long, laborious sort of thing. And again, this is where whenever I do make things with sprues, yeah, expect it to take quite a while, especially when you use sprue goo. Again, we'll come to that in a minute if you are new to sprue goo. as it does take a while to make it, and then it takes a while for it to, well, go back to hard plastic. Again, kind of jumping the gun there, and if you don't know what sprue goo is, I probably confused you, well, maybe even more. So yeah, it was just a case of getting all of these, putting them in groups of 4, and then letting obviously the cement glue do its job and glue all the bits together, and then we're left with loads of these, loads of, well, what's soon going to be some fries. But while we're waiting for all of that to sort of fully dry, let's get on and make, well, let's say the framework to make up the fry box. And this is the one good thing I love about sprues. They are awesome for making up frameworks. So even if you just use these and made up some sort of like cheap terrain pieces, yeah, you can make all kinds of like buildings and bits and bobs with these. And it's certainly a great way of using sprues rather than, well, throwing them in the bin. Or say, a lot of people just keep them in the box that they came with, never to be seen again. And that's kind of why I went for a stage of, well, basically just sort of seeing exactly what I could make with sprues. And I think in the end I kind of worked out that I could make, well, pretty much anything. As I say, I did make a towel manta, and I made it full size. So if anyone knows what towel manta is, yeah, you'll appreciate just how big that is. And I made one only using sprues. So the frameworks are easy to make, sometimes fiddly, and I'll have to admit this is where obviously I'm using normal super glue because I want the thing to dry nice and quick. Yeah, I think I must have had so much glue on my fingers, because the problem here is obviously I'm holding on to the bits that have lots of glue on. So yeah, I did spend a lot of time trying to pull my fingers away from everything, and yeah, it then took me ages, well, trying to get the glue off my fingers. But hey, that's the fun of this hobby. So as you can see, the piles of sprues that I'm going to make the fries with, they were in blocks of 4. I kind of felt that was not enough, so I've now made blocks of, well, 9. And here we go. This is sprue goo. And as you can see, I'm doing a Michael Jackson here. I've got one glove on, as that's the glove, well, it's the hand that's going to be holding on to what's going to be the fry. The sprue goo, don't worry, I will show you what I've done there in just a moment. So this jar has had sprue goo in it for, I don't know, over a year. But the good thing is, with the lid on, it doesn't evaporate, as in the acetone that's in there doesn't evaporate. And yeah, sprue goo seems to last forever. Even though this is coming out a little bit thicker than it does normally when you first make sprue goo. It is a lot more, well, runnier and easier to move. But yeah, from what I'm doing, this is fine. So yeah, as you can see, I am literally going over all the sprues with the sprue goo. And this is just going to make it look, well, like a solid kind of block of plastic. Obviously, once I paint it, hopefully it will then look like a chip. But at the moment, it is kind of, well, a solid bit of plastic. If you have seen my previous sprue videos, guys, don't forget, let me know in the comments which one was your favourite that I made. I say, I have made a lot of stuff. There's definitely a lot of orc stuff. Say the orc stomper, there's an orc wagon, battle wagon thingy. Yeah, there's just so many things. I have to admit, I might have to go through and watch some of my old videos just to remind myself exactly what I made. Although maybe I should go through and remake some of the things, as obviously my painting skills are so much better now than they were when I originally made things with sprues. So yeah, it could be worth yeah, remaking some things. I think the first thing I ever made was the Great Unclean one, as in, well, the miniature. I made a Great Unclean one only using sprues, which was pretty awesome. So yeah, go check the videos out, guys. So there are loads to watch. Yeah, see what can be done with sprues. And there we go, loads of sort of, well, long finger fry looking doobie whatsits. So this is a case of letting that dry now. So it takes about 7 hours for the sprue goo to go back to being hard plastic. And as you can see, I used up pretty much every last bit of stuff I had in there. So the magic ingredient is acetone. So to make sprue goo, you get the empty jar, or in this case a jar I've been using for quite a while. Fill it up with some acetone. Generally I fill them up halfway, so whatever jar size I use, fill it up halfway. As you can see, the liquid or the water is a bit green there. That's because it gets, well, it changes colour with the sprues. So all these sprues that I was cutting up earlier, this is why I never throw away any bits, whether they're big or small, because these are the bits that I use to turn into sprue goo. And sprue goo basically is sprues melted in acetone. Although I got told off for using the word melted, because they don't melt, it dissolves apparently. Yeah, I had some chemist person message, well, leave a comment on one of my videos many years ago saying, yeah, sprues don't melt, they dissolve. And well, there you go. So so then what I do is obviously I cut up more So they're all the bits that from the centre of the sprues. So the outsides I like to keep because they've got the nice straight lengths, which are good for all kinds of things, especially frameworks. And then the centre bits, yeah, cut them all up, put them in a jar, and this is what you get. And here's a case of leaving this. Generally it takes about a good 7-8 hours. So this is it after about an hour and a bit, and as you can see it is starting to well, dissolve. Yeah, so you leave it a little bit longer, and this is now around about the sort of 4-5 hours mark, and as you can see, yeah, the ones at the bottom, obviously the weight at the top has definitely pushed them down. They've dissolved nicely, and it's just a case of leaving it a bit longer. So as well, I always say in all my other videos when I make sprue goo, I would say leave it at least 8 hours. Generally I would do this and leave it overnight, just because then you're not watching it. And yeah, 8 hours later, and it looks like this. It's a jar of, well, sprue goo, which can be used for all kinds of things. If you watch a lot of my videos, you'll see I do make a lot of stuff with sprue goo, but a good thing it can be used for is as a filler, as obviously it is sort of, well, it's Warhammer 40k plastic, so it sort of sticks to, well, anything you need it to. Again, talking about sticking, that's why I use greaseproof paper, just because it doesn't stick to that. It will literally stick to anything else. And I'm making some flat panels here, and the best way of making flat panels is using the rolling pin. And as you can see, this one has these discs either end, and they're sort of height ones, so when you roll things out, you know that's the height you're going to get, which is yeah, pretty awesome. So yeah, if you haven't seen, again, there's videos out there showing how I make panels, and the panels can be used for, well, all kinds of things. And generally, like if you saw the Orc Stomper, I made up loads of panels, made a big framework for the Orc Stomper, and then yeah, the panels go on the outside, really. Kind of self-explanatory, I guess. But yeah, you can use panels for, well, whatever you want to use them for. So again, this is where health and safety, obviously I haven't got gloves on, but I'm not intending to get any of the acetone or the sprue goo on my fingers. So before everyone starts spamming, oh, you should be wearing gloves, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, possibly, but we don't always follow full health and safety. So yeah, don't necessarily do what I'm doing. You take whatever health and safety precautions you feel necessary. So I've already sort of drawn out on the acetone the rough size that I need, just so when I do roll these panels out, I can make sure that each panel is going to be big enough to, well, to cover the bit that I need it to cover. As you can see, yeah, this bit isn't. I need to put more sort of blobs of sprue goo in it, and that's exactly what I do. So yeah, so this sprue goo will stay soft. Again, it seems to take 8 hours-ish for it to sort of turn from sprues into sprue goo, and it seems to do about the same going back the other way. So yeah, you need to sort of wait and let the acetone evaporate from the sprue goo, and then yeah, it goes back into being a nice hard sort of plastic, which you can drill, cut, yeah, do whatever you need to do to it, really. So that's why sprue goo is such a versatile kind of thing. The only problem is, though, obviously for like a hobbyist channel like myself, it does take a long time just sort of leaving it, as in you can't crack on and do too much because you need to let it dry or, well, or dissolve. But yeah, rather than throwing the stuff away, it is pretty cool that you can turn sprues into, well, I say, I don't think there's anything I couldn't turn a sprue into. Yeah, I've had to go. I also made a Demon Lord. Again, my brain is trying to rack now to think of all the things I have made. I did make a Star Wars TIE Fighter, although it did have an Orc sitting in it, and that was made from sprues. But yeah, terrain pieces, debris pieces, buildings, yeah, say vehicles, and you can make moulds and put sprue goo in a mould. So again, I've made tyres and all kinds of bits and pieces. So yeah, as you can see, these sheets now, they need to sort of dry, so I'll put them to one side. And then going back to my, well, my fries, my chips, they've got sort of stringy bits on them here and there, or nibbly knobbly bits. So yeah, I'm using some very rough sandpaper, just because I kind of want a pattern to be left in the fry, as in I want it to have a bit of a rough sort of texture, as I think that'll help with the whole sort of fry look, rather than it being sort of silky smooth. It's nibbly knobbly, wibbly wobbly, and yeah, it's got some texture in it. And then 8 hours later, all my panels have come out. So with the panels, again, these have come out, and yeah, I mean, they're alright, they're not great. If you're making things for orcs, these would make some great panels, but there is a way you can make panels and they are, well, ultra smooth. again, there's a video out there somewhere where I get one of those, is it a mangle? The thing with two rollers, and you put something between it, turn a handle, and yeah, it mangles it and it comes out whatever. Yes, if you want perfectly smooth flat panels, then yeah, you need a little mangle. Again, video out there somewhere, guys, where I've used a mangle and the panels have come out super smooth, super flat, and just perfect. But yeah, for this case, I'm not worried. The fact these do have sort of like indentations and they're not sort of perfectly smooth and all the rest. But the thing I love about this stuff is it is easy to cut with a pair of scissors. So this piece, so this is about 7 hours sort of it's been sitting for. So it is still reasonably soft. As in, if I wanted to, I could curve this around something, like say a tin of baked beans. If I wanted to make a round, well, a round something or other, round chimney, a round building, or yeah, whatever you want to make really. So say this stuff is pretty versatile. It's pretty cool. So yeah, this probably will take another 3-4 hours at least to sort of like fully harden. And then you can sand it and drill holes in it and whatever. So this is now a bit longer, and again, this is now obviously harder. So cutting the bits out and then simply gluing them on. So this is where obviously making a framework first is great. And the framework doesn't have to look too pretty, as well, as you can see here, it's going to get covered. So I've been wanting to make these fries to go with a burger for say about 2 years now, I think. I may or may not get back into making things with sprues. As I say, I did enjoy it, but it is very time consuming and sometimes messy. And it does seem to go through a lot of glue, as well as obviously the acetone. And yeah, I think my channel is probably now moving more towards the 3D printing sort of area, just because I can 3D print exactly what I need, especially when making dioramas, which is awesome. Whereas when I first started this channel, I was literally making things out of cardboard boxes, tins of beans, and all the rest of it. So it was a case of I'd make stuff, it was kind of what I wanted to make, but it didn't look exactly what was in my mind. Whereas 3D printers, yeah, you think of it, you can go online, find the bits you need, amend them, change them, resize them, and yeah, you can make exactly what you need. So as you can see, yeah, just gluing the bit around the frame here. So I've made quite a lot of extra stuff on the side, which is pretty good, because I do need an extra sort of kind of panel to go at the back of the fry box, as I originally cut it so it looked like the front, because I forgot that obviously the back bit is round and higher. So yeah, luckily there was some sort of sprue panels left over to make the bit I needed. And then again, it's just so easy to trim all this stuff just with a normal pair of scissors, which is one of the reasons I do like working with the sprue panels, as yeah, it is easy just to sort of trim, cut, and do the rest, which is really nice. So out of all the probably hundreds of things I've made with sprues, the sprue burger is probably the only thing that I've probably had sitting on my desk for, well, the last sort of couple of years since I've made it. As yeah, a lot of the stuff I've made with sprues I've rather sold, given away, or it's gone in the bin. But the sprue burger is one thing that's just stayed with me, just purely because it's so different, it's so nuts, it's just, yeah, it's so out there, it's untrue. So yeah, sprue goose, this is what I was saying about earlier, it's a great filler. So especially if you've got like large bits of terrain, and there's bits of gaps and all the rest of it, yeah, this stuff, obviously it goes in really well. It can then be sanded once it dries, and obviously it looks exactly the same as the rest of the sort of GW stuff, because, well, it's come from the same sprue as all the bits and pieces that you may well have assembled and made. So here's all my chippies. Obviously I don't need them this long, I just made them long because obviously that was the length of each of the sprues. And then yeah, just simply a case of cutting them down to try and get as many sort of chips out of this amount. There's quite a lot here. I did actually go and make about another same amount again, just because I thought I'd had enough, but yeah, I was nowhere near. So yeah, so I ended up making a ton more of these fries. And then it's simply a case of, well, more glue. So this is what I say, when it comes to making things with sprues, I do seem to go through a shed load of glue, whether it's the super glue like I'm using here, or the cement glue. So again, that's the other reason why I do kind of get put off making things with sprues now, just because the amount of glue I go through is nuts. I will say though, guys, that I do this in a well ventilated area. I have a window literally, well, about a foot behind my head, and I have another one just to the side of me about 2 feet away. So yeah, plenty of fresh air coming in, because obviously again, if I'm using lots of glue, there's a lot of glue smells in the air, and yeah, I'm not a glue sniffer and I don't want to get headaches from it. So yeah, again, health and safety, it is down to you guys to do your own health and safety. Yeah, don't do what I do if what I'm doing isn't the right health and safety wise for you. So yeah, it is a case of putting all these lovely, so they look like fingers, little chocolate fingers. Oh, I love chocolate fingers. I've had them for years. And there we go. There's one big box full of fries. Obviously the underneath, well, we're not going to look at that, so we don't need to sort of fill that in. So normally I'd use a matte black primer, and I love using the Colour Forge one just because obviously it covers really well. But they also do a variety of colours, and they do this yellow, which is just perfect as well. I quite like the look of this yellow. Yeah, so I think it's come out really well. Obviously the fries do look a bit too yellow, so I'm going to dirty them up with a bit of a shade here, a bit of a wash, just to try and give them, well, a bit of depth to them. So yeah, using this, just going over all of them, and I kind of make them possibly turn from like French fries into nice big chunky chips. But yeah, I think doing the wash definitely sort of does give it a bit more depth, a bit more character to each fry, and makes them look less like they're bits of plastic painted yellow, I guess. And then the last thing to do with the fries is I'm going over doing a little bit of dry brushing with just some white, just catching a few of the edges here and there, just to, well, obviously add a bit of highlights as though the sun or light was reflecting off my chips. Again, just to give them a bit more sort of depth to them. So yeah, they don't look just sort of too plain and, well, boring. And yeah, I'm really pleased with the effect. Say, pretty simple little paint job on this because, well, there's not really a lot to sort of do to it. And yeah, that's the chips pretty much done. And then I just want to paint the box, but obviously I want to add my, kind of a little twist to the McDonald's sign, which is why I'm making the M with a bit of a H in it as well. And I found the simplest way of doing that is I've got a bit of the old greaseproof paper, and I've sort of copied onto it the M and a H, and then yeah, using the good old technique that was taught well when I was at school, get your tracing paper, draw something on it, turn it over, and then on the other side you get your pencil and you just start rubbing over the line, and this way obviously it'll transfer some of the pencil mark from the other side onto, well, whatever it is you're transferring it onto. I could have done the whole thing freehand, but yeah, this will just help me get a much better looking M. I say this M is more of the McDonald's M because, well, I copied a McDonald's M and then I stuck a little H at the bottom. And just in case anyone doesn't really know what that means, obviously MH, miniature hobbyist. And then the last thing to do is to paint the box in, well, a lovely red that's kind of similar to, well, hopefully a McDonald's fries red. So yeah, guys, I really enjoyed doing this. Say, I've been wanting to make some fries to go with a burger for the past couple of years. I'm glad I've finally done it, although when I was making the burger I did originally say I was going to make some fries and probably like a drink to go with it. You may have to wait another 2 years and then I'll make the drink sort of carton cup looking what's it. As I say, as much fun as it is making things with sprues, and I've definitely made a lot of things with sprues, it's very time consuming, very messy on my desk. I do generally seem to get glue everywhere. So yeah, I may or may not do more sprue videos. Obviously, if you guys leave some comments down below on what you might want to see me make, if someone suggests something and I'm like, oh yeah, I want to make that, then yeah, I may come out of sprue retirement and make things. And here we go. Yes, one. Again, guys, I know it's nuts, but it makes me laugh. And yeah, I do like making things that are just fun, no real point, no real reason to them. And there we go, one big burger, one big lot of fries for no real reason other than, yeah, I wanted to make something out of sprues, and you can literally make anything out of sprues. Okay guys, well, I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to sort of hit the like button down below, subscribe, definitely leave some comments, and yeah guys, there's loads of sprue videos out there, so if you want to see some proper sort of Warhammer stuff that I've made with sprues, then yeah, click on the links down below. Big shout out and thank you to my lovely patrons, Chaos Cards and the Colour Forge for helping support the channel. Really does mean so much to me, as I can keep making videos, especially some silly ones every now and then. Okay guys, you take care. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.